Imagine venturing blindly through the expanse of Daggerfall in the mid-1990s, scrabbling to understand where its limits to freedom were, questioning, indeed, in my stupid child brain, whether there were any limits. Imbecile, of course there were. Nonetheless, Daggerfall holds particular sway over me as the first game I played that was completely open world, and it kinda blew my silly little mind, but I'll try to be as critical as I possibly can be despite being poisoned by nostalgia. Intestinal dungeons, a sprawling landmass, multiple factions with opposing interests, an investigative main quest built on political intrigue rather than urgent world-ending catastrophe. In these ways, Daggerfall has become notably antithetical to the linear dungeons and miniaturized landmasses featured in later entries to the Elder Scrolls franchise, which is why playing this in its new form feels like a breath of fresh air. The source code of Daggerfall was lost by Bethesda, probably by Todd, during a studio move, so it's a good thing that Interkarma has been working since 2014 on Daggerfall Unity. The feature-complete alpha build has recently been released, and on a main quest playthrough there have been 0 crashes to desktop, and 0 bugs that prevented the main quest lines from being completed. Is this not a Bethesda game? Graphically, this is definitely still Daggerfall, retaining or remastering its aesthetics, adding some new sprites, while vastly increasing the draw distance, and obviously the resolution from the legacy release in 1996 of just 320 by 200 pixels. The feel and flow of movement and combat is improved thanks to it not being rooted in Bethesda's old X engine. Obviously it's now built with Unity, hence Daggerfall Unity. Daggerfall doesn't have too many problems in its design. It's more a case of not enough polish and execution, or enough layers of content to mask how empty the world is, rather than any intrinsic issue. Often cited as a problem are the dungeons, which are semi-randomized assortments of pre-built rooms, corridors, caves and whatnot, and some rather unintuitive puzzles that tend to end up quite large. It can often be a frustrating exercise to locate whatever ingredient or beast or villain or NPC you're looking for. Though even in a big dungeon, it can sometimes be trivial. Oh, hello. Don't go into a big dungeon without the recall spell, and at least a heal spell, in case hidden enemies prevent you from resting. In any case, employers cannot demand that you perform dungeon crawling services, simply request another job. It's your right as a worker. The quests are reasonably varied, and modders, I believe, have already added to this variety. Escorts, tavern brawls, curing people, heists, it's nice. And there are many guilds to interact with their own quests. One hopes that dungeons too will receive new parts to mix into their preordained mishmash of bits. Perhaps dungeons could have their own self-contained little quest lines. One day, we will see. The community is strong. The interplay between the vast size of the Iliac Bay, where the game takes place, and the time restrictions demanded by quests necessitates the use of fast travel. I don't enjoy any implementation of fast travel that involves clicking on a place on a map and just zapping there. A more contextualized solution would be part and parcel with the introduction of content. Roads between major cities, borders between countries, ports, stables, variety in the vegetation and terrain, expanded dialogue options and guilds, and so on. Daggerfall could use some optimizing of its character system too, at least the RPG number crunching bit behind the scenes. Much of it is lovely, the primary, major, minor and miscellaneous skills contributing to your leveling at different rates, reputation among factions and social classes, inherent advantages and disadvantages, and key stats. These are all nice, but the requirement to train a skill point one at a time by sleeping, so if you don't sleep you don't improve your skills, is annoying. And the cap of 100 on key stats and, for the purposes of leveling up, 100 on skills, creates a hard level cap of about 30 to 31. Level caps are always shit, especially in a game whose design kinda wants you to pour hundreds of hours into its content, to invite you to get to know the character you've created and to get involved with the world. A game like this should not have arbitrary caps for character progression. Your character should never have to stop growing. Overall, it feels like Daggerfall Unity is a fantastic canvas on which to layer more content, better than a Skyrim or similar because the canvas size is so big, and the underlying technical mechanics mean that the implementation of new content is probably somewhat simpler, certainly in terms of art assets and scripting, I'd have thought. I have no idea really. I could just be talking out my ass. I do recommend giving it a try, at least until you've, say, dipped your toe into a guild. The game can feel a bit overwhelming, perhaps inhospitable, but I found it really easy to get into despite not having played it for over 20 years. Not properly, anyway. Just keep your goals straight. Pick a guild, pursue a main quest, become a criminal. It might not be for everyone, but will likely be of interest to fans of open-world games, and it's all free. Visit dfworkshop.net and follow the links. I pretty much love it. Nostalgia. I haven't quite completed it yet. I'm still to decide who to give the Totem of Tiber Septim to, and will afterwards need to find the Mantellan Crux, so things yet to do. I'm leaning toward Underking or the Emperor, or King of Worms. The fame buff seems pretty good. What do you think? Who should I give the Totem to? Comment below. The two original programmers of Daggerfall have united within the newly formed Once Lost Games, I keep saying Ocelot Games, promising to create a spiritual successor to Daggerfall, that is, a role-playing game in a properly sized fantasy world, utilizing new generative methods of immersive world building rather than handcrafting toy towns again and again. Hopefully not a fantasy No Man's Sky, fingers crossed. Give their website a look, their YouTube a sub, and their Twitter a follow, I guess. I imagine we'll hear something from them when they are ready. Enjoy your Daggerfall meanderings, let me know how you get on, and please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and many, many thanks to Interkarma.